Even icons need a day off, and when Joker, Harley Quinn, Spider-Man, Batman, Iron Man, Shrek, SpongeBob, The Simpsons, Sonic, Catwoman, and Supergirl all converge on one water park, organized chaos becomes must-see entertainment. Expect laugh-out-loud moments, jaw-dropping stunts, and impossible pairings as villains loosen up, heroes compete, and cartoon logic rules the splash zone. Stay for Joker's wild flow-a-tie antics, Batman's surprisingly competitive streak, and a surprise team-up that flips everything you think you know about these characters. You'll leave laughing, amazed, and itching to jump into the fun yourself. Villainous hijinks at the lazy river. A lazy river is a shallow, gently circulating water channel intended for slow drifting on tubes, with banks often planted for shade and lifeguard stations spaced for visibility. These design elements create predictable currents and clear sightlines, which matter when a group of capricious characters transforms a tranquil float into a stage for mischief. Safety infrastructure like buoy lines, depth markers, and lifeguard chairs becomes part of the setting, not merely backdrop. For practical purposes, the presence of staff and clear egress points shapes how any prank or rescue unfolds. The Joker and Harley Quinn treat the float lane like a playground for optical gags and surprise confetti bombs, but their humor leans toward elaborate setups rather than blunt force. Harley rigs a ring of inflatable flamingos to rotate and wobble, while Joker replaces the lazy river's playlist with a warped carnival tune through a waterproof speaker rig. Batman stays low and observant in a shaded cabana, scanning for patterns and subtle tampering with binoculars and a dry erase map of tube traffic. Spider-Man swings close enough to tangle a rogue ribbon or retrieve a tossed tube with a quick web loop, light and nimble, while calling out directions to avert a pileup. Iron Man, keeping electronics sealed and buoyant, tests miniature repulsor pulses at low power to create controlled eddies, mostly to annoy Sonic, who refuses to get caught inside water but leaves a dry, windswept wake on the paved pathway that sends small waves across inner banks. Sonic's speed becomes an accidental weapon. A sprint along the outer walkway generates splashes that jostle unwary floaters into comic collisions. Shrek, preferring a murkier comfort, has claimed a deeper section with mud salad snacks and bellows of laughter that echo off the rocks. SpongeBob, delightfully absurd, absorbs water and releases perfect soap bubble orbs that drift and pop on touch, sending mothers and kids into fits of giggles and mild chaos. The Simpsons add sitcom-style misdirection. Homer commandeers a donut-shaped tube and drifts into a no-floating zone, while Bart plants a whoopee cushion on an empty lounge chair nearby. Lisa quietly tries to mediate with a makeshift safety checklist, explaining exit routes to anyone who will listen. Catwoman moves with feline grace along the perimeter, slipping between loungers to pilfer a glittering sun hat or a child's plastic pearl necklace, which she returns later with a flirtatious shrug. Supergirl hovers at a respectful distance, hands ready to steady an overturned tube or lift a flailing toddler, careful not to create a breeze that would disrupt the revelry. Interactions are a blend of play and consequence. Joker's confetti trick is dampened when Batman reclaims the waterproof speaker with a silent grappling line, leaving Harley to switch to harmless pranks like squirting seltzer from a hidden flask. Spider-Man's webnet saves Iron Man's drone when Sonic's wake topples it, and Shrek shares swampy snacks with SpongeBob, who hands out bubble blowers like party favors. Lifeguards, initially bemused, call a soft cease and desist when the pileup risks real injury, and characters who care, Batman, Supergirl, Spider-Man, coordinate a quick, low-profile rescue, returning the lazy river to its intended flow while leaving behind a wake of laughter, squish tubes, and wet confetti. Heroic tan lines and costume malfunctions. Ultraviolet radiation from the sun darkens skin where it is exposed, so costume coverage, fabric weave, and color directly shape any resulting tan lines. Tightly woven, dark fabrics block more UV than loose, light ones. Likewise, waterproof or neoprene swim garments typically have higher UV protection than thin spandex. Sunscreen with broad-spectrum protection and an SPF of 30 or higher is a common recommendation to reduce uneven tanning and sunburn on exposed areas. Spider-Man's full-body suit, when removed, produces one of the cleanest contrast edges. An intact mask and contiguous sleeves mean a stark, symmetrical outline around the face, neck, and hands. In practice, that means Peter's cheeks and jaw could show a sharp facial tan line where the mask sits, while fingers and forearms remain a different shade because of the webbed glove coverage. Short, Batman's cowl and gauntlets create trade-offs. The cowl shields the forehead and upper face but leaves a crescent of sun-exposed skin around the jaw and lower neck if the cape flutters open, and heavy leather gauntlets leave wrist and lower forearm demarcations that are visible on a hot day. Catwoman's goggles and strap can cut a thin horizontal line across the forehead, and repeated fast zip transitions risk snagging her latex into small tears along stressed seams. Costume malfunctions at a water park tend to follow a few predictable patterns: elastic fatigue, zipper jamming, adhesives washing out, and decorative pieces detaching. Iron Man faces a different set of problems. Metallic seals and joint lubricants are not designed for chlorinated pools, so gaskets and small fasteners could corrode or calcify under repeated exposure. Even highly engineered suits have intake vents and access panels that should stay sealed to prevent water intrusion. Harley Quinn's corsetry and ornamentation. Ribbons, studs, and painted seams can loosen or run in the water, with sweat and pool chlorine turning greased face paint into streaks across costume fabric. Joker's theatrical grease paint is particularly vulnerable. Water-resistant formulations exist, but if he uses classic water-soluble makeup, the chlorine will cause smudging that stains collars and creates an unintended horror show contrast to any sun-kissed skin. Short sentence. Non-human anatomies change the calculus. Shrek's thick, pigmented skin and tendency to prefer mud mean that visible tanning may be less of a concern, but mud or foliage used as makeshift sunblock can stain seams and trap sand in costume creases. SpongeBob's porous, sponge-like body presents unique material challenges. Porous costumes and prosthetics can absorb pool chemicals, leading to discoloration and loss of structural integrity in foam pieces. Sonic's fur would typically mask mild tanning on short-furred regions, yet straps, harnesses, or exposed inner ears could still show contrast. And wet fur behaves differently than dry fur. Matting can hide or accentuate lines along the neck or paw cuffs. The Simpsons as a household. Homer in swim trunks and Marge with her beehive in one piece. Ray's familiar, everyday swimsuit issues. Elastic waistband failures, wig adhesives loosening under humidity, and sunscreen transfer that leaves yellow-stained collars if not fully absorbed before getting into water. Practical fixes are straightforward and used by performers and cosplayers alike. Choose UPF-rated swimwear or line costume interiors with UV-blocking fabric, and secure stress points with reinforced stitching and corrosion-resistant hardware. Waterproof makeup and alcohol-based setting sprays reduce running grease paint, while medical-grade adhesives or silicone tape can stabilize prosthetics and wigs through slides and sprays. Quick repairs are also part of the routine. A compact kit with fabric patches, emergency snaps, a small roll of silicone tape, and a micro set of stain remover wipes cuts downtime. Finally, strategic sunscreen application. Apply first to exposed skin, then to areas that will peek out from beneath straps and seams, and reapply after towel drying. Minimizes sharp tan lines without compromising costume fit. Short, Shrek, SpongeBob, and Sonic mud pies and speed slides. Shrek heads straight for the mud, drawn to the cool, viscous texture beneath his feet and the familiar smell of earth and reeds. He kneads the muck with broad, deliberate motions and uses leaves and cattails as crude sculpting tools. SpongeBob, being more experimental with water, rigs a little bubble maker from an extra straw and a travel-sized clarinet he found in a lost-and-found bin, blowing foamy crowns that sit atop the mud pies like frothy icing. Sonic darts around the perimeter, testing slide lines and leaving streaks of splattered mud where he brushes by, turning simple circular pies into dynamic patterns of splashed art. Examples pile up. Shrek's pie molded into a lopsided ogre face, SpongeBob's layered with concentric rings of foam, and a tiny seaweed flag. Sonic's interpreted as speed trails pressed into the sludge with a single, rapid palm swipe. A practical approach emerges as they cooperate. Shrek teaches hand pressure and how to trap water in the center so the mud holds shape, a technique any kid at a park could copy to make sturdier pies. SpongeBob demonstrates buoyancy tricks for bubble toppings, showing that denser soap mixtures create longer-lasting foam, and then giggles as the foam collapses into a glittering rivulet. Sonic contributes tips on clearing a sliding lane so pies won't block an exit, using quick sprints to test whether a path stays free of debris. A simple safety habit that friends can use to keep shared attractions pleasant. The trio shares concrete examples. Use 2 handfuls of water per scoop of sand for optimal pliability, compress the base firmly before adding decorative layers, and keep mud sculptures off filtration grates to protect park systems. Movement contrasts define the scene. Shrek opts for broad, slow motions and prefers to sink his hands deep, savoring the sensory feedback and the way the mud cools against his skin. Short bursts, though, are Sonic's language. He zips in, adjusts the perimeter, and leaves behind centrifugal arcs that make each pie look like it was caught mid-rotation. SpongeBob bridges the styles with dance-like gestures, bouncing as he pats down edges and singing little bubble rhymes that prompt wildlife-style curiosity from nearby gulls and kids. One moment is quiet and tactile. The next is a flash of speed, then a bubbly chorus, making the area feel like a patchwork of different tempos and textures. After the main creative flurry, they turn the activity toward playful competition and cleanup in practical ways. A judged round tests stability, who can stack the highest, who can make the mud maintain a smile the longest, and the criteria are simple and teachable. Base density, moisture balance, and decorative resilience. Rinsing follows. SpongeBob absorbs excess water and wrings himself out like a sponge before hopping into a splash pool. Shrek amuses himself by deliberately wallowing, then shaking off in a drama that sprays his companions, and Sonic finishes with a short run around the perimeter to shake and dry, his red shoes flicking droplets into the air. The day leaves clear, usable takeaways. How to build a stable mud pie, how to add playful foam without wrecking park systems, and how to keep a fast friend from turning a shared craft into a hazard. All demonstrated through messy hands, shared laughter, and a few well-timed dashes. Simpsons donut-fueled wave pool chaos. Homer Simpson's appetite for glazed rings and powdered jelly pastries is one of the show's most consistent running gags. And when a promotional donut giveaway ended up too close to a wave pool, the consequences were predictably messy. Wave pools rely on large volume pumps, pneumatic chambers, or paddle systems to displace water and create artificial surf. And those mechanical systems are sensitive to solids and oil. When sticky food residue and floating debris enter intakes, they can foul skimmers, clog strainers, and reduce pump efficiency, forcing operators to shut down the system to prevent damage. The scene at the pool looked like a confectionery storm. Chunks of donut and ribbons of glaze bobbing on the water, a sweet scent drifting across the deck, and a frothy, beige-colored surfline where foam met sunlit skin. Lifeguards immediately activated the emergency stop for the wave generator and blew whistles to clear the water, while guests climbed onto the deck with inflatable inner tubes still dotted with powdered sugar. Park staff pulled large skimmer nets in long sweeps, then moved on to more technical responses, running surface skimmers continuously, isolating and backwashing sand filters, and using oil-absorbing pads to capture greasy sheen, because standard filtration cannot instantaneously remove oils and sticky particulates that cling to pump impellers and filter media. Health and safety protocols dictated the next steps. Pools are typically closed to test chemical balance after contamination, and technicians measured for turbidity and organic load before reintroducing swimmers. Practical examples of mitigation included adding a coagulant or flocculant to aggregate fine particles for easier removal, increasing free chlorine with careful monitoring to maintain safe disinfection levels, and mechanically vacuuming settled debris from shallow areas. Meanwhile, signage and public address announcements informed visitors that the wave session would resume only after filters were restored to proper operating differential pressures and water clarity met regulatory standards. Beyond the immediate cleanup, the incident produced clear lessons for park operations. Enforce a strict no-food in-pool policy and position promotional booths well away from aquatic areas. Certify and restrict inflatable novelty floats to materials that can be sanitized. Schedule additional training drills so staff can rapidly execute an emergency shutdown and coordinated cleanup, and implement pre-event briefings when large giveaways are planned. Those adjustments reduce the risk that a beloved cultural gag, Homer and his donuts, turns into an expensive, sticky interruption of safe aquatic recreation. Romantic misfires. Joker, Harley, and Catwoman's poolside drama. The Joker's modus operandi centers on spectacle and misdirection, and Harley Quinn's history as Harleen Quinzel explains why she responds to those theatrics with a mix of devotion and volatility. Selina Kyle, known to most as Catwoman, brings a fundamentally different energy. Self-possession, practiced flirtation, and a professional thief's instinct for timing and escape. Those three traits collide awkwardly at the water park, where bright umbrellas and sunscreen smell replace Gotham's alleyways and grimy rooftops. On the pool deck, Joker plans an ostentatious gesture because grandiosity is his language. He imagines romance as a stage trick and sets up a row of heart-shaped inflatables and a gaudy, mechanized bouquet that squirts confetti. Harley watches with starry eyes while the rest of the crowd thinks it's just another one of his stunts. She expects tenderness. Catwoman arrives late, having slipped away from a shady gift shop with a silk scarf she couldn't resist, and she treats the scene like an amusing diversion. The smile on her face is small. It means nothing to anyone but her. The prank goes wrong in ways both comical and revealing. A hidden valve Joker forgot to check sends a geyser of chlorinated water skyward, dousing the decorations and soaking Harley's carefully applied makeup. She laughs at first, then flares. Short temper, long history. Catwoman steps in with a dry quip and a towel wrapped around her shoulders. An offer of practical help that reads to Harley like a challenge, and to Joker like theft of his spotlight. The tug-of-war is not just about attention. It's about tone and ownership. Harley wants to belong to Joker's invented world, while Catwoman refuses to be written into anyone else's script. Words ricochet as fast as water droplets. Joker tries to salvage the moment with jokes that land like wet sparklers. Harley interprets the flippancy as a personal slight. Catwoman, who has never promised fidelity to anyone but herself, keeps her distance and lets them perform for a moment, watching the exchange like an outsider enjoying a street performance. The lifeguard, an ordinary person caught between extraordinary egos, mostly ignores them until a tantrum escalates into a near-splash fight by the shallow end. A quick intervention restores order, but not the original plan. In the aftermath, the three of them end up shoulder-deep in the wave pool, less because they reconciled than because the water leveled the playing field. Small apologies mingle with bigger boasts and a few sly barbs. Harley clings to Joker's arm while Catwoman perches on the edge of the pool with her legs in the water, amused and slightly exasperated. The romantic misfire doesn't resolve cleanly. Instead, it reveals patterns. Joker's inability to translate spectacle into sincere connection, Harley's search for significance in that spectacle, and Catwoman's preference for independence over being anyone's prop. The scene closes without tidy answers, but with a clear snapshot of how their impulses play out when vulnerability and performance collide. What a day! Joker and Harley traded harmless pranks. Spider-Man and Sonic turned the slides into a lightning-fast race. Batman finally let his guard down in the shaded cabana while Iron Man tested a floating gadget. Shrek found a mud pit to call his own. SpongeBob bubbled the wave pool into a party. The Simpsons staged a gloriously chaotic picnic, Catwoman glided through the lazy river, and Supergirl finished it all with a golden sunset sweep from above. We saw unexpected friendships, silly rivalries, and quiet moments that reminded us even heroes and villains need to relax. If that put a smile on your face, tell us which moment was your favorite in the comments. We love reading your takes. If you want more crossovers and behind-the-scenes fun, like and subscribe and tap the bell so you don't miss what's next. Stay tuned. Next time we'll follow these characters into a nighttime laser tag showdown and share a bloopers reel you won't want to miss. Thanks for watching, and see you at the water park again soon.